Why am I smiling, you ask? That's because in patch 14.12, Riot is planning on buffing the ever-loving fuck out of Ezreal. Hey! I hate recording videos, man. Hey guys, Dragdar here, the rank 1 Ezreal in EU, back again with another video and giving you a little bit of an update on the state of Ezreal. And that's right, you heard me correctly, Riot is planning on giving Ezreal a pretty substantial buff in the next patch coming up. But before we get into that, let's just take a look at Ezreal again on the current patch. If we take a look at the data here in Emerald Plus, Ezreal is still chilling in piss low, win rate wise, of course, with 47% win rate in patch 14.11, and this is without his win rate being deflated with people building the incorrect build with Essence Reaver now. This is just Ezreal's general strength with Trinity Force, and this is what's warranted Riot to decide to buff Ezreal. And they announced some massive buffs, as I said, for Ezreal in patch 14.12, which we're going to take a look at now. Ezreal's AD growth is going from 2.5 to 2.75. The Q total AD scaling is going up to 140%, and his ult base damage is going up by, well, a massive amount. 25 at rank 1, 50 at rank 2, and 75 at rank 3 late game. So that's a lot of additional damage that Ezreal is going to get. Now, most of you might be looking at this and thinking, okay, Dragdar, how is 0.25 extra AD per level going to help Ezreal in any way? But there's an important detail we need to keep in mind when talking about Ezreal's base AD, and that is he's always building Trinity Force, or at least you should be. Don't build Essence Reaver, by the way. And why is that important? That's because the Spellblade effect of Trinity Force has 200% base AD scaling. So base AD, remember, AD growth is related to base AD. And so at level 10, we will have an extra 2.5 base AD. And with the 200% scaling, that's on every Sheen proc that we have with Trinity Force, an additional 5 damage. And you think, okay, 5 damage, what does that mean, Dragdar? At around level 10, I've just gone into a custom tool to give you an accurate visualization of what it'll look like when you're in-game at level 10. This is about the build that you're going to have, Trinity Force, maybe a couple longswords, maybe a Corefield's Warhammer, and you have exactly 152 AD. And what does this mean? So if you go back into the buffs again, we're getting an extra 10% total AD scaling on the Q. And so 10% of 152 is 15.2. And so if we add the AD growth, which is 5 on every Sheen proc, and an additional 15 damage, that's an additional 20 damage on every single Trinity Q that we fire. So another 20 on top of this. And if you land about 5 Qs in lane, that's an additional 100 total damage. Just for landing 5 Qs, and in an extended laning phase, you're most likely going to land 5, if not more, Qs in lane. And that's a big buff to his damage, especially in just the early mid game. And remember, that plus 20 damage on every single Q is only at one item. These are both scaling buffs. So the later that you get into the game, the more AD you have, the more these buffs are going to matter. And maybe it's going to get up to about plus 30, plus 40 damage on every single Q that you land. And so your late game damage as Ezreal is going to be much better than we know it to be right now. And we all know that Ezreal late game right now is a bit of a pea shooter. But guess what? The buffs don't stop there. And why is that, you ask? That's because Serylda's Grudge is also getting a buff. And as we can see, the base percentage armor pen on Serylda's is going up by 5%. And if you didn't know, the majority of assassins even, who this item is designed for, are just straight up building LDR instead of Serylda's Grudge, because the armor pen percentage that you get is hard to beat. 40% on LDR compared to Serylda's with 20%. No one really liked building this item, even when you got lethality items to increase the armor pen that you got from Serylda's. And now, with this base percentage armor pen increase, I'm going to believe, this is my prediction, that Ezreal will go back to building Serylda's 3rd or 4th item whenever he needs armor pen. And maybe there might be a sneaky little cook happening where we might build some lethality items after Serylda's. So if you're interested in a super secret Trinity lethality hybrid Ezreal build that will only be available next patch, stick around till the end of the video and I'll let you know then. But with this buff, as well as Ezreal scaling late game Qs, dealing more damage because of the total AD percentage increase on his Q, I think Ezreal is going to be a very formidable champion in the next patch. And the data definitely does suggest that. Because if we know Ezreal in his current state, the reason he's not that strong in the meta is not because, maybe his survivability is awkward or his laning phase is weak. It's quite simply just because his damage just sucks. Especially as we've now gone from the old Essence Reaver to Trinity Force, it's just objectively less damage, and the data supports that. If we take a look at, this is patch 14.10 when the item changes for AD carries came through, and we look at Ezreal's total damage, this is 24k total damage dealt in every game, in Diamond 2+. And then we look before the item rework, when Essence Reaver was still the old Spellblade proc that we had, it was 25k total damage every single game. So his damage has gone down a substantial amount, 1k difference on average every game, whereas every other stat has kept the same. So the only thing holding Ezreal back right now, really, that we can track at least, is his damage. And so you're probably wondering, okay, Dragdar, what do you think about these buffs then? Do you think they're OP? Is he going to be the most OP champion in the game? And my prediction is, I don't think he's going to be the most OP AD carry on the patch. I think this is a good bump for his damage, but I still don't think it will match up to the S tier picks like Draven, Jhin, Caitlyn, who are really, really leveraging the power of the new IE, even though it did just get nerfed. His damage will never really match up to that, but I do think these buffs will make Ezreal extremely strong if you're able to snowball as a skilled player on Ezreal. As soon as you get your Trinity Spike, he is going to hit very, very hard. And if you can snowball and get ahead in the item curve, then Ezreal, he's always been oppressive when played from ahead. And so I think my prediction is Ezreal is going to be the #1 picked champion in the AD carry role next patch, which is a little bit sad. I do like it when Ezreal is a bit more of a niche pick so that he's not always contested or maybe even banned, and he can be our secret pick. But I do believe he will be the highest pick rate AD carry next patch. He's going to be very, very strong, guys. So make sure you get on the jump when next patch drops, which I believe from the point that this video goes live, it will be 5 days. 5 days from the point this video is live is when the patch will drop. And you're going to make sure you need to abuse this Ezreal champion to get yourself some LP. Because now will be the patch that all you Ezreal lovers you've been waiting for. He's been weak for so long now. It's time to grind. Listen, book your day off from work. Call in sick for school. Tell your girlfriend that... Who am I kidding? None of us have girlfriends. We're all League players. But... sit back and grind some games, boys. This is the time to get some LP. Ezreal's going to be very strong. And to give you a massive head start so that you can climb faster than every other player trying to abuse Ezreal on the new patch, I want to give you 2 huge tips that you can only find on this channel. One is by giving you the most optimized and perfected rune page and build order that you're going to go every game on Ezreal that is based not only on the statistics, but also my specialized knowledge as the rank 1 Ezreal in EU, so that you can dominate and 1v9 every game and even carry your inting teammates. And 2 is by making sure that you have some of the best teammates available on your team every game. And how am I going to help you with that exactly, you ask? Well, of course, that's by using Tapin.gg. Tell me that wasn't hella smooth. Tapin.gg lets you connect with challenger level players extremely easily. Once you've signed up on the website, all it really takes is a few clicks and you can be in game with a Master Plus teammate in your ranked games literally within minutes. And if you're just like me and hate losing ranked games just because your teammates are running you down and holding you back, this is a surefire way to guarantee that you're going to have a high quality, good mentality teammate on your team. And with the combo of having the newly buffed Ezreal on the next patch and having a guaranteed Master Plus teammate in all of your rank games, you are guaranteed to skyrocket your rank to the goals that you've always been dreaming of. So if you're interested in climbing extremely fast with high quality, reliable teammates, go check out Tapin.gg now and use promo code Dragdar30 for 30% off your next 3 games. So, what are we building now on Ezreal on the new patch with his buffs? Well, first things first that I want to tell you, First Strike is now dead. I know, I literally just did a video on it saying this is the future of Ezreal, but they've decided to already, in one patch, nerf this rune. I'm not going to go into the details, but just trust me guys, First Strike is now dead. We are not going to go this anymore. So that means we're going to have to go back to the traditional Ezreal rune page with Precision, and we're going to go PTA or Conqueror, which I'll talk about in a minute, with Presence of Mind, Bloodline, Cut Down, Magical Footwear, Biscuit Delivery, and the same stat shards as always. Attack Speed, Adaptive Force, and Flat HP. And now for the real meat of the rune page, and that is whether you should go Conqueror or PTA. I get asked this question a million times on stream, and I'm finally breaking that down on video for you all. One disclaimer I want to have is that you can decide to one-trick one of these keystones and take it every single game, and that will be completely fine. It is a stylistic, preferential choice. If you find that you're having more success with PTA because you like to play more aggressive in lane, and you want to take it every single game, you are welcome to do that. There is no immediate disadvantage if you are comfortable with one rune. So if you really like PTA or Conqueror, feel free to take it every single game. But the actual decision making behind which rune you should take is all about whether you're going to play aggressive and look to 2v2 and the support that you have on your team. If you have a Pyke or a Nautilus or a Leona and you're looking to play really aggressive and one-shot the enemy laner in a 2v2, level 2, and play like this for your lane, then that's exactly when you want to go PTA. It really buffs that bursty style of play because of the 3-strike proc, and allows you to 2v2 more easily. Now, Conqueror is more of a scaling rune. If you prefer playing very long fights, and let's say your matchup bot lane is Yuumi against Soraka, you're not likely to be 2v2ing the enemy. It's going to be more of a farm fest, and you're going to be playing for the mid-game team fights and skirmishes. And that's where Conqueror really shines, is when you're playing extended long fights where the adaptive force scales up throughout the game and you get massive stat steroid during the team fights. It can get up to a ridiculous amount of AD, and that's exactly what Conqueror is for. So it's a stylistic choice, whether you're going to be playing aggressive in lane or more for scaling. That's how you can choose whether you're going to go PTA or Conqueror. And now for the minor runes. Presence of Mind, this is a no-brainer. We don't have Essence Reaver anymore for infinite mana, so we really need this to keep our mana high and topped up in the middle of team fights. Bloodline, I know, this looks very sad as we've got the Legend Haste rune right next to it, and you might be thinking, wow, that must be the perfect rune for Ezreal. The truth is, now that we're playing with Trinity Force, our fighting style is more skirmishing and getting close and auto-attacking, and for that kind of playstyle, we really need lifesteal. We don't want to rely on getting Bloodthirster, 4th or even 5th item in the game. This is just too important to skip out on. Cut down is a no-brainer as well. This has now been buffed, so the threshold for the bonus damage you deal is down to 50% HP. This is going to deal more damage by far in every game that you play than Coup de Grace or Last Stand. And for the secondary tree, commonly you'll see me go sorcery with Mana Flow Band and Transcendence, but this has changed now. I've discovered that economy is just too important for getting to Trinity Force as fast as possible, and to achieve that, we like to go Magical Footwear. And the secondary that we'll take with Magical Footwear, I mean, the best of all of these really just is Biscuit Delivery, but you can also go Cosmic Insight for reduced summoner spell cooldowns. As for his actual build on the new patch when he gets buffed, guys, sadly Riot killed all of Ezreal's build variability with the new AD carry item changes, so he is basically building Lucidity, Trinity, and Mana Moon every single game. This is his staple core items, hasn't changed since Season 1. And to this, I will also add Shojin. I think this is his most important core build. This will never be changing. I build this in 99% of my games, which works up into Challenger, so of course it's going to work in every single elo. The only thing that you should keep in mind is that your third item sometimes, very rarely, but sometimes, you can decide to change this for a defensive option, and that will either be Frozen Heart or it will be a Maw. Okay, you can build one of these two items, third item, and it will work very well. One thing I'm considering on the new patch is that now Serylda's increased penetration has been buffed. Maybe this is going to be an option to build third item. I'm not sure if it's going to be better than Shojin. That's something we'll have to test. But I will definitely be building Serylda's 4th item almost every game now. Unless you don't need pen, of course, and then I would still build the Frozen Heart or more, as mentioned before. But I think Serylda's is now going to be Ezreal's go-to penetration item, and this is where things get a little bit interesting, because if you don't need a defensive option in the game, which again, as I said, is Frozen Heart or more, then we can decide to go another lethality item. Maybe it'll be Edge of Night for some survivability, or Opportunity for more damage to squishies. Many people very much so like Voltaic Cyclosword, and I will tell you about the secret lethality build right after this. But this is definitely an option. You can go 6th, but for all intents and purposes, you're most likely going to be building a defensive item here, again, Frozen Heart or more, or if you need lifesteal, Bloodthirster is very good on Ezreal now. This is just 80 AD and 18% lifesteal. So this is going to be your usual go-to Ezreal build you're going to build in the majority of your games. And the only things you need to think about is whether you need penetration, survivability, or lifesteal. Okay, and you're going to build those as your last 2 items always, essentially. And now, ladies and gentlemen, this is where things get spicy. Well, as spicy as we can get in this patch because, as I said, Ezreal has had his build variability killed. But we're going to go Lethality Trinity Ezreal hybrid now. Okay, so since Serylda has had its penetration, base penetration, buffed on the next patch, it's 25% now, we can now go Serylda's 3rd item and then decide to build 2 lethality items immediately after. And so with that, we will have extremely high lethality, but also high percentage penetration to deal with tanks. So we'll be able to kill squishies and, well, not the tankiest targets, but semi-tanks. And the reason this is really, really cool is immediately after building Serylda's, we can build Voltaic Cyclosword. Okay? And the interaction between these 2 items is that on your first Q on a target, it will slow them for 20%, like old Serylda's used to do. If you remember, Serylda's have been nerfed now, and only slows when they're below 50% HP. So we will have Voltaic to slow when they're above 50% HP, and then Serylda's to slow when they're below 50% HP. So it's a really, really cool 2-item interaction where the lethality gives you percentage pen on Serylda's, you get high lethality and burst damage to kill squishies, but also killing tanks, and we get that perma-slow effect that we really, really miss with the old Serylda's. And then to finish this off, again, if you don't need any defensive options or lifesteal, as I said, you can either go Shojin if you're a haste junkie. I am a haste junkie, I'll admit. I really, really love high haste. But we can decide to go another lethality item like Opportunity, or Edge of Night for a defensive option, or if you like getting really, really spicy, you can do things like Serpent's Fang for shield shredding, or Axiom Arc for more of the new buffed ultimates flying around. Collector might even be cool. But yeah, definitely a last item lethality. Your build would probably look like this. I'm sure this would deal an insane amount of damage to squishies, but also let you cut through tanks. So this is the new spicy lethality Ezreal Trinity hybrid that I'm definitely going to be trying on stream. So come check that out. So there you have it, guys. There's everything you need to know about the newly buffed Ezreal on the next patch. I'm very, very excited, guys. I might start a new journey to rank 1 on my stream. I think he's definitely going to be strong enough to be able to do that. If you really enjoyed this video, please, guys, give me a like and subscribe because it takes a lot more effort recording this. It's basically taken me all day. So much appreciated if you do so. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. I wish you all the best in your journey climbing in the next patch. And I think everyone's going to start skyrocketing their ranks with how strong Ezreal is going to be. Much love, guys. Peace.